Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to teach you how you can scrape anything using Apify. So Apify is a marketplace for actors, which essentially let us scrape anything. And these actors are pre-built scripts by developers that already have all the functionality. So all we have to do is just send a request to it. And these developers, they've done all the hard work. They've gotten around all those anti-bot features. And one really cool thing is that you don't have to connect your personal accounts, so you don't risk anything on it. So coming here to the Apify store, we can see different kinds of actors that perform different kind of tasks. And we have 5,000 plus pre-built actors for web scraping and automation projects, which is really cool. And you can always search here for like different keywords for different kind of actors that might exist in your Apify store. And in this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways in which you can effectively set up the actors. So let's come here to one of the actors just to see how it looks. So in every single actor, the first thing you see is going to be a configuration panel. So basically you have everything here and it just gives you the things that will be needed to configure that particular actor. Coming here, we can see we have a name or URL, which is optional. We have a page number, which is optional, pagination token, result limits, things like that. And then coming over to runs, you can basically see the runs that you've done in the past, and you can see things like the usage, when it was finished, the duration, and other things like that. Here on Apify, there are different kinds of payment methods. So there's some actors that have like a pay per results and others that kind of have like a monthly subscription. Personally, I prefer pay per results just in case I don't really want to get a lot of information. Maybe I'm doing something that's really niched. So a pay per results always serves me better. But if you prefer like monthly basis, if something you're going to be using really, really often, then you can go for that as well. So coming back to N8n, for method 1, first thing we want to do is obviously we want to add a trigger. So I'm going to click on trigger manually and we get this trigger over here. And then next thing we want to do, just because of Apify is not a native integration here in N8n, you want to access it using an HTTP request. So we come here and we search HTTP and we just click on that. And we make sure it's connected to the trigger. Coming here, we have these different things we have to configure. So we're just going to go back to Apify and check those out. So coming here to Apify for our first method, that method is going to be a method where we first send the request up to Apify and then get our results back after the job has finished running. So to do that, we're going to come here to API and we're going to come down to API endpoints. So here in the API endpoint, we can see different options that we can use to access these actors. So what I'm going to do for this first method is going to be run actor. So what this basically does is it runs the actor. So it takes the input and the instructions we've given it and sends that request off to the actor, and the actor processes it and gives a result. So what we're going to do to set this up, we're going to come here and we're going to come to where it says post. And we're just going to copy this endpoint over here. So we copy the URL. And one good thing about this is your token is already set at the end of this URL. So you don't have to do any extra authentication. And to set up that token, if you haven't already, just come over here to manage tokens and you can create a token from there. Coming back to N8n, in this URL, we just want to paste that over there. And for the method, as we can see here, it's a post method. So we want to change that get to become post, like so. As I said previously, since your token is already there in that URL, authentication would be none. And then the next thing we have to do is we just have to send over the body. So we just toggle this send body to be green. And here we have the body content type. So we want the body content type to be JSON, and the specified body, we're just going to put that as using JSON. Coming back to Apify, we're going to come out of here and we're just going to go back to that configuration panel. And here in the configuration panel and under input, we can see everything here in manual. So here you can just select the options you want, any inputs you want to add into it or anything like that. So for me, I can use profile username or URL. So here you can just put your profile username or URL. You can put the page number, you can put pagination token and so on. But for this use case, I'm only going to be putting the profile username or URL, and I'll be putting the result limit as well. So here under profile username or URL, I'm just going to paste in my LinkedIn URL, and I don't want anything about page number and I just want the result limit to be 1. You can put as many results you want to get. It doesn't matter, it just depends on your use case. And one really cool thing here for the JSON, we just have to toggle over here to JSON and we just copy this and put it directly in there. So we just copy this and go back to n8n. And here in this JSON tab, we just want to paste this in just like that. And that is how we'll set that up. Our next step is we want to get back that information, right? So let me just show you what that kind of looks like. So we run this, it's just going to run. And here it just gives us an ID of what it got. It doesn't give us back the information we need. So we need to set up a second HTTP request that is going to get us back that information. So I'm just going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to search for HTTP. And here we're going to go back to Apify and we're going to go to API endpoint. And we're just going to scroll all the way down. And what we're looking for is get last run dataset items. So we're just going to copy that just as before. And if you notice here, this is a get request. So just like last time coming into the HTTP request, the method here has to be get. And for the URL, we're just going to paste that URL we copied, and authentication as well will be none because the same thing, the token is at the bottom. All right, and this one we actually don't have to send a body. So I'm just gonna leave that like that. We just wanna get that information back. And we're gonna execute this step. And here we can see that we're getting all the information and the text from that. Lovely. So this is the first method to set this up using Apify. Just to go over that again, here you can just see in the place that says text, we get all that information. So you can add some other data transformations to then just extract this text, or using the drag and drop method, you can just drag and drop text to where you want to use it. And also, if you want to avoid things like something being scraped twice, you can always add an if statements or additional checks to make sure that the information you're giving has not been scraped before. So coming back to this, our scenario of this LinkedIn URL, here we've already put in this person's URL. So it's going to scrape all your recent posts. So in this case, if you don't want them to scrape this person again, you have to maybe put an if statement like, oh, if you scraped this person before, don't do this, don't scrape it again. Or you can create something like an Excel sheet just to keep track. And then as you're getting the LinkedIn URLs from there, just be like, oh, if you've gotten this one before, don't scrape it again. Just add like status checkers just to check the status if this URL has been scraped or not. For method 2, it is quite similar. So I'm just going to copy this as well. And I'm just going to paste this here. And I'm just going to take this trigger and bring it over here to method 2. And for method 2, what we have to do is come over back to Apify. We're going to go to API endpoints. And we want to look for run actors synchronously and guest dataset items. So this does the two things at the same time. It runs the actor and it gets back the dataset items before it presents it to us in the workflow, and is very effective as well. So here we're just going to copy that and we're going to come back here and we're just going to replace this over here. And this JSON body is going to be the same thing. So just as we did before, you'd come over here to your input, you select everything you want to select, and you come here to JSON and you just copy that. And we just want to post that here in the JSON. We're just going to test the second step. And we see, just as before, we get the text as well. Looking at method 1, how it works essentially is in the first step, when we run this, it sends a request to Apify. So coming over here to Apify in runs, we can see that everything was set over here, and we can see the usage, we can see how long it took to run that, and so on. And then the next step is we want to get this that was just run and display it back to us in n8n. So first step, we posted the request. Everything was run on Apify. Second step, we go to Apify and we grab our results back and we display it to ourselves in n8n. That is essentially how this works. But also sometimes due to like maybe lagging or maybe it just takes a longer time to receive results, especially if you're scraping a huge load of things, it'd be good to add a wait in between. So coming here, we can just delete this. And you want to go to Apify just to find out, oh, how long does this actually take to run at a time? For my workflow, just because I'm scraping just one thing, it takes just like 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So here, we just want to add a wait. So we add that wait node, and we want the resume to be after time interval, and we can just add like 5 seconds, and we connect that wait back to this. So basically what this does is we send a job to Apify. So, hey, Apify, scrape this for me. It scrapes it, and then it's scraping it, and we're just basically waiting for it to finish its job before we get the information back in our get request. And to really take this to the next level, we can use a method called polling. So that's basically where you wait. After a certain time, you go back, you check if you've gotten the results. If you've not gotten the results, you wait again. You check back to see if you've gotten results. And when you finally get the results, it then continues on with the workflow. So that is another method that you can use for this as well. And that is it, how to scrape anything using Apify. If you've liked this video and found it really helpful, make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.